Welcome VR devotees to the number one source of VR gaming news. Before we get into the games announced for October, let's have a short look back at what got released last month. September started off with a PlayStation VR exclusive on-rails shooter, Transformers Beyond Reality. Critic aggregate site VR Game Reviews has Transformers at a mediocre 63. The VR Grid scored at a 6, quote, $20 for this is too much for what is effectively less than 2 hours of game time where every stage and boss fight feel nearly identical. Ouch. On September 15th, the Rocket League invoking Ultimax dropped. There was a bit of hype around the game as Resolution Games have some pretty popular titles in their portfolio, but after release there was complete silence. Not a single games or VR outlet have reviewed this one. On Steam it sits at a 84% positive but at only 70 something reviews, so people like it but not many seem to play it. There's apparently not much interest for this format. One day later the open beta for the Half-Life 2 VR mod dropped and yeah, have a look at those numbers. 98% overwhelmingly positive at over 2000 ratings. That the possibly most successful piece of VR media of the year is a VR mod of an 18-year-old flat game perfectly sums up the current state of VR gaming. And it shows that PCVR is still alive and kicking. It does not lack players, it only lacks good games to play. Speaking of which... The hype for Bonelab was through the roof, understandably so, as Stress Level Zero's previous game, Boneworks, was for many one of the best, if not the best, and certainly the most influential VR game of all times. Bonelab is a physics-based sandbox first-person shooter. Sentenced to death, you must uncover a way through a hidden underground research facility to escape your fate. The game confronts you with arenas, obstacle courses, tactical trials, sandboxes, experimental modes, user-generated levels, and a world with deep lore to discover. You have the ability to switch avatars on the fly, each with its own characteristics. The gimmick of the system being that you can upload your own avatar and the game will give it stats according to the shape. So here we have the most hyped VR game of the year, and the absolute legends at Stress Level Zero decide to announce a release date 1 week prior to release. 1 week. See what I have to work with here? Bonelab released on September 29th for PCVR on Steam and on the Quest 2. And it did not land so well. It sits at a 63 on VR Game Reviews, the same as Transformers. Road to VR was particularly unimpressed and gave it a 5 out of 10, quote, while there's a lot on offer including a campaign and several replayable mini-modes, they all suffer from the same core problems, which is boring enemies with very little variety, poor encounter and puzzle design and bland weapons. Steam users liked it a bit more with a decent 76% mostly positive at over 5000 reviews. The rather disappointing launch has led to the discussion if content creators that got early access overhyped the game. And yes, of course they did. That has nothing to do with Bonelab or the VR creator community. That happens all the time in all forms of media. There's one solution for this kind of problem: don't pre-order games. I will put out a dedicated video about Bonelab soon, so if you are interested in my hot takes, you might want to subscribe to the channel, huh? Once Alliances is a 3v3 competitive VR shooter. Imagine Harry Potter but in fun, because you exclusively use your powers to kill your peers. Choose your class and prepare your battle kit from a wide selection of spells. The game released in June on the Quest to a strong critical reception, putting it on a 79 on VR Game Reviews. Most critics are impressed by the strong tactical nature of the matches. On October 5th, the 1.1 Uprising patch drops, introducing a new game mode, Team Deathmatch, new spells, challenges and cosmetics. And a Steam release. There will be crossplay between the Steam and the Quest version from launch day and with Pico devices at a later date, but just for regions outside of China. Runner is an arcade-inspired VR racing action game. You are a rogue mod courier, under pursuit by the forces of the Caldera Corporation. Race through 7 sectors of a neon-drenched metropolis while fighting off relentless waves of autonomous corporate combat drones. There are unlockable vehicles, each with its own unique traits and characteristics, collectible power-ups, a bunch of different weapons, and an original synthwave soundtrack that dynamically accentuates the action. Runner is scheduled to release on the Quest 2 on October 6. A PC and a PSVR 2 version are in the works, but no release date for those yet. Well, for the PSVR 2 version there's obviously no release date, but yeah, no release date for PC yet either. Steel Guardian is a single-player action RPG. Freely explore an open world, engage in full physics combat with blocking and free hand positioning on the hilt, find a slew of different weapons and collect loot to put on display in your homestead. The game got a bit of attention after being showcased on the OTK Games Expo in June. It is scheduled to release into early access on Steam on October 10th. It seems a bit light on content for now, so it might be worth to wait and see how they flesh it out during the early access period.
Hi there, I'm Joe, Senior Puzzle Master here at Egression Inc., the world's premier escape room establishment.
While most VR puzzle games tend to have some escape room inspired mechanics, Egression is a straight up escape room simulator, including lobby and waiting room and all. The puzzles are exclusively designed for VR, there's a good deal of interactivity and a bit of quirky humor going on. On release there will be 2 escape rooms with a supposed playtime of 2 to 4 hours. The developers have put out a demo, or more like a playable teaser, for the current Steam Next Fest, in which they state their intention of including more rooms in the future. But for now it's only the 2. The game is scheduled to release on October 13th for PCVR on Steam.
We wouldn't want anything bad to happen. Like that. Ready to escape some rooms? Let's get you started!
The gorgeous lands of Greece are under attack. As one of the Olympian gods, you'll have to save your residents and keep their islands from sinking. So at least read the description of Gods of Hellas Steam page. It is a tower defense game, a pretty classic one. You play from an observer/god view perspective, build towers and barricades, place units and accumulate mana to throw devastating spells at the enemy horde. Jet Dog Studios have made a bunch of mobile games before and now dip their toes into the VR sphere. The game is scheduled to release for PCVR on Steam on October 18th. A Quest 2 version is teased, but there's no confirmed release date for that so far. We already covered Requisition VR a couple of times actually. The release date gets pushed back month after month. The current date is October 20th. Let's see if they make it this time. That's it for this month's worth of VR gaming news. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye!